Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of how to become a landlord. And in case you missed part 1 and 2 of this video, I will drop the link in the description below so you can check out both of those videos. Moving on to step 9 of becoming a landlord, and that is onboarding new tenants. Now, you've already been through the application process. You verified the tenant. You verified that all the information that they provided on their application was accurate and that you've determined that they will be a reliable tenant. Now you want to onboard them. So what you want to do is have a signed lease with your tenant that outlines the terms and conditions of what your responsibilities are as a landlord and what the tenant's responsibilities are and what they need to do to make sure that they are in compliance with your rules and the guidelines and terms that are set forth in the lease agreement. So the tenant's responsibilities could be, are they responsible for paying a certain percentage of the utilities, or are they responsible for all of the utilities? Landlords will mainly be responsible for all the maintenance and repairs, because you can't require the tenants to do all the major maintenance and repairs because it's not their property. Now, some of the main key things that you want to include in your lease agreement includes this information, but is not limited to all of this information. So you want to have the length of the lease, so how long their lease is for, whether it's a year, whether it's 2 years, or whether it's going to be a month-to-month lease. You want to have the rent amount, how much the tenant is responsible for paying each month, any security deposits or pet deposits that they have to pay in order to move in. You want to have the tenant's name, so who you are leasing the property to, and that those people that are actually listed on the lease as the responsible parties are the only ones that are occupying the residence, because you don't want someone else that's occupying the residence that is not on the lease, because then that can lead to other lawsuits and other complications like that, and that's also a violation of your lease terms. So you want to put a clause in there that says that only the people that are listed on this lease are responsible for the terms and agreements of the lease, and that they're the only ones who can occupy it, and anyone else who is living in the property that is not listed on the lease, besides children, that would be a grounds for an eviction. And you also want to have a lease breaking clause in there. So how much notice does the tenant have to give you before they can break the lease? And can they break their lease? Some landlords don't have a clause to where you can break your lease, and some have a clause to where you can, but you have to pay so many months worth of rent. And you also want to speak with an attorney on this, and you may want to have them help you create a lease or review the current lease that you've developed to verify that you have all the information in there to legally protect yourself in case something happens. Moving on to step 10, and that is maintaining a habitable property. Now, what I mean by that is you have to make sure that your property is always livable. You don't want to have a property that constantly has mold in there where it causes your tenants to get sick, because no one can live in that. That will make your property inhabitable to live in. So you have to make sure that you're keeping up with all the repairs, verifying that your property is always up to code, and verifying that everything within the property is functioning properly. So some routine tasks that you may want to perform is repairs and maintenance, conducting walkthroughs of the property. This is before a tenant moves in and after a tenant moves out. So you want to perform some pest control, verifying that there aren't any unwanted pest infections, let's say like bed bugs or anything like that. You want to service all the HVAC units, and you want to keep your landlord insurance up to date. So you also want to clean out the gutters. If your property has any gutters, you want to clean those out, because clogged up gutters can cause a problem on your property. And a general rule of thumb is that you want to set aside at least 50% of your rental income for these repairs and maintenances, because there's typically always going to be something that needs to be repaired in the property. Moving on to step 11, and that is organization. Now, you want to stay organized to help yourself know where you are standing financially, and to give yourself that audit trail in case your tenants try to sue you for something. Let's say that they said that you never communicated with them regarding a certain matter. Let's say they wanted you to fix up their their roof because there was a leak in their roof. You want to document all communications that you have with your tenants, so you can have that as your evidence and backup to show that you've done this work. You also want to have backup of all of your service request orders and the completion of them, so the requests that the tenants request and you completing them. So you want to document all of your paperwork. Document everything, because evidence is key. Documentation is key. You want to have a documentation of all of your financial records, from your income to your expenses and everything that you're spending on the property. You want to document all of that. And you also want to have a filing system that you can use to store all of your backups. So in case you get audited by the IRS, or let's say the health inspectors come by to inspect your property, then you will have all the necessary documentations that you've done what you said you've done, and to show that your property is up to code. So in case anything bad happens, you won't be at risk. Moving on to step 12, which is the last step of becoming a landlord, and that is outsourcing your property to a property manager. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, let's say that you have 50 properties. Let's say that you have 50 properties that you have purchased. You're not going to want to keep up with, collecting the rents for all 50 properties. You want to be able to outsource that, especially if you want to continue to add more properties to your portfolio. You don't want to be responsible for collecting all the rents, communicating with all the tenants, getting all of their information, all this paperwork, just going back and forth. That's a lot for one person to do. So you want to hire a team to handle all of that for you. And the team is usually your property managers. Now, the fee that property managers typically charge property owners for managing their properties is typically between 8 to 10% of your rental income. So you would expect to be paying that off. And that's also deductible, because that's a service that you're paying for to continue to help your business operate more efficiently. Now, these were all of the 12 steps on becoming a landlord. And again, if you found value in this video and you want to learn more about how you can implement these 12 steps into your business and set those projections so you can see where your business will stand financially, then click the link below to book a call with me, and I'll be more than happy to help you to making those sound financial decisions to help grow your business and increase your profits and reduce your tax liability. And until then, I will see you guys on the next video.